Hello, everyone, and welcome to our one-shot Werewolf the Wild West game. My name is Will. I will be your storyteller this evening, and we are going back in time to a place where the West was wild and everyone was expanding as the United States were kind of coming into their own. Our game takes place November 1870 in a little town called Conflict, Colorado that no longer exists. And it might be something that we get to see in this session. But it has been 9 years since the Colorado Territory has been established. And sitting on the southeastern border, Conflict has been established as a connecting route with a railroad coming in from the east and heading to the west. The rails are supposed to bring in new business, new citizens, and most of all, new energy. But not everything coming in from the east is said to be a boon for the city. There have been forces of nature that have come and claimed stake in the city, some good, some bad. And one such force of nature is Bernard Gantrey. The man is solely responsible for bringing the iron out this far, and come hell or high water, he will become the man that unites the two coasts of the United States. And before we go any further, I'd like to introduce our pack for today. Hello, everyone. It's good to see your faces.
Hi.
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 So,
What's going on?
we're going to start in descending order from full moon to new moon. So that means we get to start off with you, Ike. Introduce yourself. Let us know where we can find you, what you're doing with your life, if you've made any bad choices.
I'm Mike. How you doing? Find me on DeviantArt, iketoon.deviantart.com. You can also find me every Friday night for another game that Will's running, Out of the Dark, Star Wars, and bad choices. I think I'm here, so that's pretty good.
You want to tell us how to pronounce your character's name?
I will be playing Lee Mao Hamilton.
Excellent. Moving on to Stella.
Hi, I'm Stella, Saint Stella if you're nasty. And I just said that one day, now I keep doing it, and I'm committed.
I like it.
You can find me anywhere on the internet as Saint Stella on my Twitch channel. I DM Tuesday, and I'm starting a new show in July on Thursdays on my Twitch channel. That's going to be like a conversation show between artists and creators, theater people, burlesque people, illustrators, TTRPG people. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm pumped to be in this game. And today I am playing Mia, who goes by her stage name Luna Noir.
I love everything that had just happened. If you need a line designer, let me know. I have a guy. Okay. We move on to Donald.
Hi, I'm Donald. I'm nowhere on the internet. Impossible to find me. My biggest mistake is being here because that puts me on the internet and findable. But shout out to Will and all his endeavors. Follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Spend some bits.
Yeah.
Today I will be playing Walks with Spirits, our werewolf the urge.
I like it. And it brings us to Ravenya, our Ragabash.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ravenya. You can find me on Twitter under @thesquishybear. I play in a lot of the Mixstabber Studios tabletop RPG stuff. I am actually going to be running a werewolf chronicle on Mixstabbers in July. So it's going to be Werewolf the Apocalypse, Phoenix Call. We'll see if that's my bad decision or not. To be determined.
Yeah, I mean, I'm involved, so that's definitely a bad decision.
And I'll be playing Yana, just Yana, really.
Yana.
Ragabash.
Gotcha. Okay, so we know where we are. We know when we are. And we'll start with Walks with spirits. There has been some time since we last kind of touched base with who you were. The tribe has let you go your own way, and there has been a kind of small band of coyotes that have led you south and east from where you originate from.
Okay.
You have been pulled towards Clark Hollow. It is a valley that opens up out into the plains where Colorado will meet New Mexico. There are pained buffalo spirits that cry out as you gotten closer and closer to Clark Hollow. Their numbers are dwindling. And speaking to any of them will bring about the knowledge that the white man has a calling. They're dominating the land with impunity. Land that doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the spirits. You have come across a fellow tribesman, fellow Wendigo, who has reached out to you via an owl messenger.
Okay.
His name is Matthew Plainsrunner. He is somebody that has his feet in both kind of territories. He's a native, but he's also half white. He's reached out to you in hopes of kind of bringing some help to the Hollow. There is a great beast of the Weaver that he fears is approaching like a storm on the horizon. And him and the other Wendigo of the cairn have kind of put the call out to any tribes with any willing theurges, any helpers, kind of come out and become a breakwater against this deluge that they fear so far can't be stopped. Coming into the cairn of Clark Hollow, you see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Garou, 8 other werewolves that call this place home. Matthew is not just a fellow Wendigo, he is also a fellow Theurge, and he's also a fellow Cleath, a first rank werewolf. His pack name has been Races the Sky. And he has introduced you to his elder, an Adren, which is a third rank Wendigo Theurge, who goes by the name Aposom, or otherwise finds the secrets. The two of them have pointed you in the direction of the nearby city of Conflict, as all the webs of the Weaver have started to spread out from there, and in particular from the actual train station.
So I'm in the cairn with them.
Yes. The coyotes have left you. The pained bisons are the only real kind of spirits that make an effort to reach out. Most of the other animal spirits have given you a wide berth, given your history. Not yours per se, but Garou society history. However, the cairn's spirit is actually a coyote spirit.
So finds the secrets.
Hmm.
Will I be alone in this task, in conflict? Should I go immediately?
Finds the secrets usually spends his time in his wolf form, as that is his breed form. That's how he was born. And so you've come to understand that there is not just the English language that you've been taught or the Blackfoot language that you grew up with, but there's also the Garou tongue, which has helped you kind of with the interactions with animals, as through the yips and howls and growls and kind of body posturing, you can get messages across. You're just lacking in like nouns and certain adverbs. But he kind of paws at the ground and leaves 3 impressions. And then there's the sense that you will not be alone, that there will be at least 3 of you moving forward.
Are they with us?
He shakes his big wolf head.
Then it's time for me to go.
He nods. And he will walk with you, his big, gray, kind of shaggy mane, sprinkled and peppered with white. His muzzle is completely stark white. He is older. He's maybe in his 50s or 60s, which for you lets you know more than any conversation could have let you know with him, as he is somebody that has survived this long as a werewolf and has gotten to the rank of Adran. And the only one that actually supersedes him in the cairn is the cairn's alpha. His pack name is Howls for Unity. But his accepted name that he has taken for himself is Utahi. And he himself, you notice there are a lot of lupus Garou in this cairn. Him being one of them. He has a spattering of white. No, he's a red talon.
Oh.
Yeah. And the reason that the Wendigo is dealing with you is because Utahi's response to the growing kind of spread of the Weaver's web is to just raze the city to the ground and drive the humans away. But this is not a time for hostility. And even Matthew will tell you there are some good people in the city. Amongst them, Father Peter Hughes and the nurse, Miss Althea Freeman. They've been good to him.
Not sure I would trust the humans, but wiping them out is too far.
But
I'll
finds
make my way.
Yeah, finds the secrets will escort you to the edge of the cairn, and the valley kind of opens up into this massive collection of browns and greens and yellows as the wild between the cairn and the city has been relatively untouched. There's a nice breeze. It is warming up as the morning sun starts to climb up into its crown. But it's nice. It's about maybe high 60s, low 70s. And you can see just a spattering of jackrabbits kind of racing across the plains. Little plumes of smoke coming from the tops of some of the buildings as the city's waking up, getting into the groove of their flow. You start to make your way towards it. We switch over to a different angle from the city. We see a couple of stagecoaches coming in. They are adorned with bright colors, bright painted signs, and driving the lead car, the lead stagecoach, rather, is our very own Miss Luna Noir, traveling in with the other performers and merrymakers that have been invited to christen the arrival of the old number 9, straight from New York City. The local baron of the city, Mr. Bernard Gantrey, has personally invited a handful of acts to come and help spread the joy and create a welcoming vibe for all those coming out west from the big, bad kind of industrialization of what is the East Coast. He hopes that this will become the gateway to the West. In his letter, he has mentioned that there is a Miss Rebecca Hill, who is the madam in charge of the Sun-Kissed Saloon. There's a Dr. Neville Banton, who is the city's chief physician and veterinarian. And he has also mentioned Hugo Penter, the owner of the Penter, Texas mine on the north end of the city. And should your company need anything, that they should be able to find themselves a good discount, having dropped his name with the old widower, Henri Laveau, who lost his wife Isabella just at the beginning of the year. But he owns the general store, and also is part owner in the local newspaper, the Conflict Journal. How many people are in Mia's entourage?
Well, there are 3 in my band, of which I am, of course, the leader, the lead singer.
Yeah.
I play a little bit of banjo, but, you know, it's mostly just to look cool and hold an instrument, because you look cooler when you're holding an instrument.
Of course.
But mostly I'm the vocalist. But I imagine that on the road, like you said, there's a few caravans. We sort of would team up with the people to make it a safer journey who are like heading across into this town. Like would make friends with them and, you know, travel the road and have our camp at night with a little whiskey or whatnot.
Oh, a few of you have kind of created this train of horses and wagons, and because there are safety in numbers for sure, and it has helped with the kind of wild animals coming close, as there are the loud boisterous noises of instruments and people kind of enjoying themselves. And so you've kept some of the bears away as you've come out further west. You've also kept some of the coyotes away. Wolves, you have noticed, have not been an issue for you.
Wonder why.
But as you come across the hill that crests this quaint city, you see that there is the signs of progress. There are people working the rails. It is been one of the few kind of landmarks that has led you out this far. And to see it kind of extending out over the western side of the city and out into what is the wilderness, the unclaimed and untouched wilderness of the fabled West Coast. There's, I would think, a little bit of a giggle in her now, as this is a new frontier, not just a new city that you haven't performed in, but this is as close as you're going to get to all the stories you've heard about gunfights and heroic kind of ne'er-do-wells being put to justice by lone gunslingers with badges from cities that they don't even belong to anymore.
Oh yeah, she's pumped, especially if like they're riding in sort of in the sunrise, even though she normally sees the opposite side of the sun. I think she gives the reins to somebody in her band, probably Jeremiah, and maybe like shoots her gun once or twice into the sky as she passes a group of workers on the railroad and like blows them kisses and like maybe throws a handkerchief at them and like waves, assuming that they know who she is. There's no way that they could, but she assumes that she's a star.
It is the most Fianna power move to just shoot a gun, startle everyone, and then blow kisses at them to make sure everything is okay. I love that. But yeah, the first gunshots go off. There's a few screams. Some people kind of duck and drop their tools. And then as
darling, come see our show. You're doing a great job.
Yep. And you just see them. Some of them will curse under their breath as you kind of ride by. Some of them actually kind of just struggle to keep up, to kind of try to read whatever you've written on the sides of your wagons. But otherwise, you are coming into town with the morning sun. You can see just the little bit of gray kind of snake like plumes of smoke start to slither into the morning sky as the city is starting to wake up, starting to get to work. One of the other wagoneers kind of rides up and points to not a fenced off area, but definitely an area that has been kind of set aside for all of you. And kind of points over there. It's like, I think that's where we should kind of set up. Do you have any preference on how close you want to be to the city itself, ma'am?
Oh, darling, you can roll me right into the center. That's where I'm best. As long as there's some strong coffee and a croissant. Do they know what those are around here? Then I'll be happy, darling.
Ma'am, I have to be honest. I don't know what that is.
Don't worry, I'll teach you. I'm here for a few weeks. It'll be wonderful. It's just a pastry. Anything with sugar and a little sugar. And a little strong coffee, and we'll be good to start the day, aren't I right?
He nods. I mean, I could get you coffee, sure enough. That other thing, that Quiescent, is it? That's gonna be a little bit harder to come by.
Honey on some toast. That'll be just fine.
Yes, ma'am. And he kind of pulls his hat down and lets his horse slowly kind of rear back towards his wagon. And sure enough, as you kind of roll into the city and find your place in the center, all the other kind of wagons start to find their own spots. There's jugglers, there's fire breathers, there's even a few kind of more esoteric people, some card readers, people that you might consider shisty. But again, the gentleman shows up. He has a percolator in one hand and he has a plate of toast in the other. And he's like, my wagon's on the other side over there. I'm with, and you just see a spurt of fire shoot up into the sky. And he's like, I'm with him.
With your friend over there. Am I right? Well done. And what's your name?
Malcolm, ma'am. I'm looking.
Malcolm, it's a pleasure.
Oh, please! I'm looking forward to your act. I have heard nothing but rumors since leaving Virginia, and I cannot wait to personally see what all the hubbub is about.
Don't even do me justice.
Again, he kind of nods and tips his hat and walks back over. You can see some people kind of shying away from the fire breather. Others are kind of like intrigued. There's a few children that kind of scatter around and are just kind of pointing and excited. What do you want to do with the rest of your morning?
Yeah, I think she definitely outwardly, so that everybody can see, tries to talk to everybody, talks to all the performers. Tell me about when your set is, darling. I want to be in the front row. Oh, I'm going to dedicate my first song to you, sweetheart, that kind of thing.
Yep.
But like those with a keen eye might also notice that she's like taking note of like what weapons people are carrying, the exits.
Yeah.
She's got a keen eye and is purposely talking to everybody for like multiple reasons.
Gotcha. So the rest of the morning goes by uneventfully. Everybody's kind of settling in. There is a small group that kind of comes over from the city itself. And as all of this is kind of happening and all the hubbub starts to kind of settle down, we shift over again, and this time we find that we are in an evening setting. It is maybe a couple nights before all of this is starting to happen. And there is a sudden blast of light that fills Clark Hollow, and tumbling out of a moon bridge they had no business being in, we find Yana. Tumbling out onto a band of coyotes that kind of scatter as this Native American girl just kind of tumbles into their collection.
Whoa!
The scent of the old man is strong. He's been here. And as you kind of start to get up and gather your wits about you, you see a young lady kind of come out behind one of the rock formations, just kind of hold out her hand. English?
Yes.
There's a smile, there's a sigh of relief. Hello. I'm sorry there was no one to greet you. I'm Amelia. They call me Dances with Iron.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Yana. I was not expected.
Oh.
The surprise. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, we get that sometimes. You said you're not expected to. This is okay. We don't have an elder around. I think the closest we have is our beta, our fostern, Lily. She's rough with humans. I'll introduce you, and you see her slowly shift down into her lupus form.
I kind of look at the sky and there's this thought of, Coyote, where'd you send me this time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is unfamiliar territory. There are crag-like kind of, almost like an earthen bowl of just shattered earth that has kind of encapsulated this little valley with this bottleneck of an exit to one direction, which given time you could probably make out is a northeasterly direction, but just opening up into this wild valley, and you can just barely make out the kind of to take a page out of our Monster Hearts game, you can see just the lightning bugs of city lights in the distance, almost like a constellation.
Mm-hmm.
But she leads you around to where you can definitely smell that there is at least half a dozen wolves making their home here. And you see this one just kind of dried blood red wolf get right up onto all fours as this new scent comes in. And you can see the hair just standing up on its shoulders and down its back. Its tail is kind of curled up, but not moving.
It's all right. And kind of the hands get raised. There's a bit of a bow.
Yeah. Amelia kind of starts to pad the area in front of them. There's a little bit of a whining sound, a little bit of a yip, and you can make out that they're trying to be very informing. It's almost like they're trying to establish that you don't mean any of them any harm. And it's very slow, the way the hair kind of starts to come down and the tail starts to not wag, but definitely sway.
I hope we can be friends.
There's a rough bark that you understand as why. And then kind of looking down and just a little hop with both its legs to kind of stomp that you can kind of understand as here. Like, why here?
Honestly, I don't know exactly why the Great Spirits brought me here. Grandfather Smoke is not very clear with the way it works.
There's an understanding nod. Some of the other wolves shift out of Lupus. One of them is a kind of light brown, like a latte colored gentleman who introduces himself as Matthew, or races the sky. Wendigo Theurge. Amelia introduces herself as a child of Gaia, Ragabash. There is a dark-skinned but honey-colored eyed young lady who calls herself Calliope, a Black Fury's Philodox. And the only other person that's there is still in his Lupus form, but kind of comes up and nudges Calliope to introduce him, and she kind of looks down at him. This is August. It was the name chosen for the month he was born in. He is the eldest here right now. Walks with death. He's a shadow lord. Theurge. He's our fostering.
Pleasure to make your all acquaintances. I I followed Coyote through the moon bridge. And he led me here.
Amelia gets really excited, and you see her kind of grab Matthew and Calliope's hands, and she's like, it's a sign. I mean, Coyote is the cairn spirit. He must be here for a reason. He must be here because of that. And you see that she kind of points to the city.
The fireflies?
Calliope kind of laughs. No. Our second, our Audrin, finds the secrets, has had visions of a weaver spirit coming and laying claim to our cairn. He fears that the city is the gateway for this creature.
Wait, the worm comers are here?
Some are, yes. We have no Iron Riders to be our liaisons, our go-betweens, and it's been difficult. There's a man who's bringing trains here in hopes of moving further west. He has ideas to bring long tracks of iron. Claim all of this, and she kind of points at the little bit of the valley that the cairn kind of exists in. And August growls in a direction, and Calliope kind of nods. And she points. You can barely make out what looks to be a couple of lights, of torches, some lamps maybe. And she's like, it's already started. They've started to mine that edge of the valley.
But it's not theirs. Don't they understand it's not theirs?
Yeah, we've tried to tell them. Our Alpha wants to destroy the city. Wants to drive the humans away. Matthew at this point kind of steps up and he's like, our Alpha is a red talon, which is why. Amelia excitedly kind of reaches out to hold your hand. He's like, we can exist with them. They need to understand.
Some of them you can exist with. Others are rotten to the core. They've got a spirit of greed down in their souls that is just all consuming. It's as dangerous as anything else. But I understand. We can live with some of them. We just got to show them how.
Calliope looks down at August and looks up at you for a moment. I think I can take her into the city, introduce her to the people that we have reached out to. August sits back on his haunches for a moment, and there's a heavy dog sigh that escapes his muzzle. And then he nods. Amelia kind of lets go defeatedly, as she was going to. It looks like she was going to suggest the same thing. And Calliope kind of goes out, puts on some semblance of what looks to be Western gear. Among them is a gun belt. She comes over. Whenever you are ready, think we can start with Miss Freeman, the nurse.
Yeah, let's go.
And the two of you make off for the city. And then we come to the same day that everyone is kind of making their way in. There's this big train of wagons. There has been music and fanfare, and a couple of gunshots have already gone off before breakfast is even served. And we see a lone man on a horse making their way towards the city from a direction not following the tracks or the road. This is Mr. Hamilton. There has been no owing to any man of anything, except for the one kind of driving effect and call that has pulled you in this direction. And it is a pull of the two young ladies in your life that you still haven't been able to kind of find. Your music is coming in really loud, by the way.
Yes, sir. That's just me playing the harmonica.
Okay.
Right.
Yin and Chi, your little sisters, have eluded you for some time. It's the one loose end that you still haven't been able to kind of get closure on. You've honed your skill with every new city, with every new person, with every new bounty. You've gotten closer and closer to finding the truth of what happened that night, almost a quarter of a century ago. You've seen injustices firsthand. I mean, the whole South is an injustice to you and your people. You've seen the paved streets of progress in the north, on the east coast. But nowhere, not on the highest peak of the Appalachians and the lowest marshes of the Louisiana Bayou. Nowhere you've gotten as close to finding any shred, any evidence to their existence like you have now. Dr. Bishop has gotten word that in Conflict, Colorado, another fellow student that kind of learned under the same teacher, the same kind of doctor, has seen two girls very kind of descriptions that he was given to a T out in the city. As such, you have been told that you can kind of seek out Dr. Neville Banton and that he would kind of point you in the right direction. How long has Lee been on the road, do you think? Where was the last place he kind of hung up his hat?
I want to remember. Too long. Didn't do much at hanging days.
Yeah, I can
Just
imagine.
keeps going. Keeps going. One town to the next.
Yeah.
And his harmonica, and hopefully while leaving a trail of blood. Find 'em.
One can hope. What are some of the thoughts going through your mind as you're coming into conflict?
This could be it. Could be the end of my journey.
Mhm.
If everything pans out. At the same time, I've been told this story before.
Yep.
And with no results. So
Yep.
I'm at this point going into this town, no hope.
Mhm.
Just already thinking of the next town that I have to go to, pretty much.
Right. Is it safe to say that he has a pessimistic view of what he hopes to find out here?
Pretty much, yeah. Ever since that night, everything hasn't been pleasant.
Hmm.
Only good thing about that night is everything he's learned
Mhm.
help him at this point.
Yeah.
The skills, finding out his real origin and who he really is in this nation.
Yeah.
And that it's just bottom of the whiskey barrel.
Coming in conflict, you can see that there are maybe a dozen or so just covered wagons, some horses. There's a big to do in the city. Is this, do you think, something that's going to hinder you, or do you think it's something that's going to help you?
And makes no difference.
Hmm.
Nothing's gonna get in my way, pretty much. What I
Okay.
gotta do.
You come into the city, there is a hubbub. There are kids that are running around, putting up posters. You can see that there are ads for fire breathers, for jugglers, for bands. There's a poster that says direct from New York City, Miss Luna Noir is performing. There's a big party, and there are a couple of days until the old number 9 pulls into the station. But there is a 2-story building that has a small sign that you recognize as the Red Cross of the Doctor. Is this where you would think Lee is going to head to first, or do you think he might get some food or something at the saloon?
Let's not waste any time and go straight to the doctor.
Okay. In the doctor's office, you see a older gentleman, white beard, long, kind of pulled back hair. You can smell the coffee that he's brewing. There is a younger black woman who is wearing the kind of nurse's outfit of the time, the puffy sleeves, the hat, holding her hair back, and she's the first one to kind of like greet you. She kind of nods in your direction. She smiles. Is there anything wrong?
Here to see the doctor.
No. What afflicts you, young man?
Afflicts me right now. Just need to talk to him.
She kind of looks back at him. He opens the top of the percolator and then just kind of nods. Yeah, all right. I got some time before the coffee brews. Pull up a chair. You see him kind of sit or lean more against his desk. What can I help you with?
I tip my hat to a young woman.
She goes about cleaning the place up.
Look at her. See if there's any signs of abuse on her end.
Mm.
At her hands, any markings, anything that might.
Okay, give me a perception and alertness roll. First roll of the day.
First roll.
Perception, that's 4. And alertness, you said?
Yeah. And I'd say difficulty 7.
2, 4. Wait, let me make sure. 4,
Mhm.
2, 6 dice. 6. All right. Have
7 or higher.
1, 2, 3 successes.
3
2
successes?
10s and 1 7. Yeah, 2 10s and 1 7.
Okay. It
Once.
looks like you notice that she bends down to kind of grab some stuff underneath one of the beds of the 2 that are there, and one of her sleeves kind of pulled up, and it looks like there's an old wound at her wrist where it looks like she was shackled for some time. But it's not fresh. It's definitely old.
You're safe.
Mhm.
Mr. Benton?
Sir, what do I owe this pleasure?
Aaron Bishop. Dr. Bishop.
Oh, been some time since I've heard that name. Sent him a letter not too long ago. He's been asking about people. You still in Kansas?
Yep.
Is he married?
Not sure. Don't care.
That's a man that needs himself a wife, I think. Man would lose
What
his
about
head
this
if it
letter?
wasn't attached. Ah, yeah. There are a couple of ladies. I know that he's kind of reached out to some of his contemporaries to put the word out, and I recently saw them in, excuse me, in the employ of Mr. Hugo Penter. Kind of looks over at his nurse, and then he slides a little bit closer to you. You see him lower his voice. Mr. Penter's not the kind of man that I would wish anyone had any prolonged exposure to, if you understand my meaning.
I look over the nurse, him. Shake my head. My fine fella.
the gentleman tends to come in for an evening drink. It's almost like clockwork. Comes into the Sun-Kissed Saloon, has himself some dinner, has himself a couple of glasses of whiskey, then will find himself some entertainment for the night. And I use the term quite loosely, sir.
And I look, so he will be at the saloon now. What you're saying?
No, sir, it's still too early for any gentleman to even be considered drinking. And you hear the kind of percolator go off, and he grabs a mug from on top of the little kind of bookshelf on his desk. He blows into it to clear off any dust, and you see him pour a little bit of coffee for himself, and then he pulls out what looks to be a copy of a Bible. He opens it to reveal that the inside is actually hollowed out. He has a flask in there, and he pours out some brown liquid into his coffee, closes the Bible, and puts it back. Like I said, sir, it's too early for any civilized men to be drinking.
Right. You're. I guess that's something new and special about this town, compared to the others that I've been to.
He gives you a smile as he takes a drink. And there's a sudden crash as a window explodes. Everyone is within the city limits at this point. The main street is suddenly filled with action and screams and kind of people ducking for cover, and there is a couple of gunshots that go off.
Tell the doctor, get her to safety. I make my way outside.
Okay. Walks with Spirits is at the north end of the street, the main street, just passing the kind of large structure that is the church of the city. When the crash happens, the two gunshots go off, and as the crowd kind of moves in and out, you can see what looks to be two gentlemen, rough looking. One of them's kind of dressed as in a miner's outfit. One of them is dressed more like a freelancer, I think would be the best thing. Is just kind of no real costume of a job. Miss Luna Noir has been caught by the surprise as they were about to step into the saloon that's just had its window shattered. And inside the saloon is Miss Yana and Calliope. Miss Calliope just kind of waking up from whatever the evening had them doing. But everyone is kind of in the scene together at this point. There are two people squaring off. What do you all want to do?
Two people look like that are there. So there's two people shooting at each other inside the bar.
No, one person was thrown out of the bar, which is the freelancer, and the miner has kind of stepped out. There is a gun in his hand. There's no gun belt, so you can only assume that he's picked it up from somewhere. He's fired two shots into the air, one of them piercing the kind of balcony from the floor above, the other one kind of finding no purchase in any of the architecture. The street that was kind of bustling with people moving about as they were kind of excited for the new wagon trains that are coming in and all the kind of rumors that were buzzing about who's there, what's to see there, they have kind of scattered and created this shoehorn of an arena, for lack of a better word. And the miner is kind of threatening this freelancer who just kind of looks a little like a darker latte color. Definitely not so dark that he is black, but definitely someone that could be Hispanic, some Mexican probably. And there is just this string of slurs, and the freelancers just talking in a language that is not English. And that only makes the miner even more agitated.
Get a sense of what the miner is saying or threatening?
He's threatening that he's taken his drink, and that kind of doesn't happen here. There's a lot of insinuations of going back to where they belong, things like that. It is a clear sign that things will not change for some time.
Can I tell if there's taint at work here? Are they possessed by this evil forces, or is this just the general evil of man that I would not care about and let them kill each other?
Let's see, do you have the gift to sense
There's a lot of tick marks on here, so I don't know.
Yeah. Now you have Song of the Seasons, Persuasion, Spirit Speech, and Mother's Touch. Let's have you make a Perception and Primal Urge roll.
Okay, so that's 4 from Perception and 3 from Primal Urge.
And we'll say the difficulty is 8.
I've got 3.
Okay. Excuse me. There's a sense that no matter how unruly you could be, there's no level of human kind of hate that would lead somebody to act this way. Like, you definitely can sense that something else is at work here.
While this is all going on, I think Yana's going to sneak up and get a better look. Definitely in that kind of stealthy kind of, I'm walking around the bar doing nothing. Let me just kind of look out the window. And
do you think Yana would come down from the upstairs, or would they kind of be peeking over the balcony of the second story?
Over the balcony, definitely. That definitely says more about Yana than anything. Just
yeah.
And do I think this is just, worm comers having that greed pit in their stomachs kind of thing, or is there something special about this? Is this Grandfather Snake's work?
Give me a perception and investigation.
We have inherent sense about other Garou around. Like, would we clock each other?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay.
No. It's not like Highlander where there's another immortal around. There are telltale signs that you can try to keep an eye out for, depending on how openly somebody will wear like their auspice or their tribe. But that is a good question.
Storyteller, what's the difficulty?
6. We'll say standard 6.
5 successes.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
There is a moment as you kind of come up on the balcony and you look down, since you have a much different angle as everybody else, you see that you're not sure if it's... There's a moment where you're not sure if it's just you having dealt with Coyote's tricks before, but there is a moment where as the miner steps towards this freelancer, his shadow kind of stretches out, almost slithering by itself.
Ooh. That's no good. Is there a like an empty bottle, like an empty whiskey bottle from the night before that might be up here that I might kind of throw down as kind of like a distraction?
Even a odds in your favor.
Odds. Let's go odds.
I rolled a 3. There is, in fact, a couple of bottles just off to the side from the previous night, and a couple of shot glasses.
What I'm attempting to do is what I'm trying to do is I want to kind of creep over to the window with one of these bottles, and I want to try and toss it and aim for this shadow, this snaky shadow. And I'm trying to do it in kind of this, don't know what's going on. How's it going?
Let's do a wits and athletics then.
Okay.
But you do notice that the hand with the gun in it, the shadow doesn't look static. Like it almost looks like his fingers are continually kind of wrapping themselves around the handle, even though his fingers are statically on the handle itself. It's the shadow that kind of makes it look like just these kind of tendrils whipping out and kind of closing back in.
Ooh, I'm gonna keep my roll, but could I do it as the bottle gets tossed and it's going for the hand?
Sure.
To try and knock the gun out of his hand?
Yeah.
All right. What's the difficulty?
We'll say 6.
Okay.
Not that difficult.
All right.
He's got his hand
3
out.
successes this time.
Yeah. The bottle just thunks into the back of his hand. The gun drops, and there's a moment where his other hand comes over and just grabs it. And you notice, since you've been paying attention to the shadows, that the shadows kind of lash out almost like a 5-pointed star and then just collapse in on themselves, like matching the actual gesture that the man is doing. And you see him start to kind of stumble back towards the bar. Luna sees him kind of looking backwards to try and find the entrance to the bar itself. Walks with spirits, kind of sees that the man that was being attacked is kind of scrambling to his feet and kind of running into the crowd. And Lee can see from the doctor's door the whole thing kind of play out. This wild bottle from upstairs just came crashing down, knocked the gun out of the guy's hand. But there is a bit of clatter from upstairs. There's a couple of bodies that just kind of walk away from the balcony and back into the actual saloon proper. And you just hear him kind of like, "What are y'all looking at? Everything's over. It's ended. Get back to work." And turns his attention away from the situation and starts to make his way back into the saloon.
I think Luna would do like a thank you very much. The show continues this evening at 9 o'clock sharp. We'll see you then. Thank you for attending our prologue. Well done. And she kind of like, with more force than I think this person would expect, just like pulls him into the bar
Okay.
as far away from like the freelancer in the street as she can.
A couple people start clapping. They're confused, but they're clapping. And you
Confusion
can
is good.
and you can just hear somebody make eyes like, is that something we're gonna see tonight? And you just hear, yeah. That's that New York City acting. But as you pull him into the bar, Yana doesn't see where the gentleman goes. You do hear that kind of exultation, that kind of Barker like reference to a show this evening. Walks with Spirits can actually see the whole thing situation play out. Like you see this very elaborate. How is Luna dressed?
She's dressed in her like essentially her show mode. She's got kind of two modes, but she's definitely wearing like a long, as is appropriate for the time, like a long skirt with a bustle and sort of like a corset, but not a very, very tight corset. And like lots of like big hair and like flooshy things and like lace gloves and like she looks great. Dressed to the nines, red lipstick. Like just on the edge of where like people might wonder if she's a working girl, but like just not quite.
Yeah.
So she's got that like definitely like a sexy pop star of the time.
Yeah. What is Walks with Spirits dressed like?
Simple skins. I look like I just came straight off out of the plains.
Okay.
Short like skirt of skin, and then like a vest that barely covers the ritual scar that I have.
Okay.
Over my heart.
What is Yana dressed like?
Yana is also in kind of simple skins. It's more of a dress with colored beads and a little bit of embroidery. Her hair it looks like it was supposed to be in a braid, but now it's kind of come out. Except for like one little bit is still in the tie. And she has a scar running down her face from basically her right eyebrow down her cheek, and it looks like it just barely missed the eye. And it's an old scar.
Okay. What does Lee look like?
He is about 5'9", 150 pounds, very slim. Dark eyes, long dreaded hair, dark hair, rugged beard. He wears a black hat, a Union Buffalo soldier tattered coat. You can see 2 guns at each hip, Colt revolvers. The black gray shirt, black vest, black pants, black boots.
Okay. Man in black.
Yeah, pretty much a rugged version of like Pharrell Williams, pretty much.
Okay. So Miss Luna has taken this gentleman by the arm and forced him back into the saloon. You can see one of the barbacks is sweeping up the glass at this point. The bartender just kind of shaking his head as you bring this gentleman back in. I told you, Stephen, that man didn't take your drink. It's right here. And he kind of slams a lowball glass of whiskey. He kind of looks down at your hand on his arm, and he kind of looks at you. He's like, "Can I help you?"
Stephen, darling, you can help me. you can help me by finishing that there drink and walking out that there door. If I see you back here, we're gonna have a problem. 'Cause I don't know if you know my name, but once you do, you won't forget it. And nobody else around here will either. And trust me, I make friends easy, and you're not one of them. Got it?
Kind of pulls his arm out of your hand. He's like, yeah. This town's changed anyway. Goes over, he downs his drink and walks
Also,
out.
Spirits would be trying to make his way in there.
Okay.
Because knowing that there must be a taint at work, the worm at work, I wouldn't just let this alone.
Yeah.
I know I'm looking for 3 compatriots, and at least one of them must have been involved in this.
Yeah.
Those are the signs that we'd be getting.
You walk up to the double doors right as he's about to walk out, and you kind of have this moment where you stare off at each other. Behind him, you can see the elaborate dress and corset of the lady that kind of pulled him into the bar. You would imagine to diffuse the situation. Yana is still kind of upstairs.
You have
yes.
a taint out. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Before you start, Yana is still upstairs. Lee is still at the doctor's. Yes. You're muted, Ike. But Yana.
Okay. Sorry. I saw everything that went down, so I saw something's off with this guy that was brought into the saloon. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell he's tainted.
You could try to smell for it. You could try to roll a perception and primal urge.
Perception and primal urge. 6 dice.
If Yana switches from being in the outside, what's it called, balcony, to being on the inside railing, you could see everything that's happened between the gentleman and Miss Luna Noir.
Mm-hmm. And I've kind of walked it because now that they're kind of outside, I've got the last whiskey bottle. And what I've been waiting for is the guy to walk out far enough to where I could try and drop it just lackadaisically on his head.
Nice.
That's what I've been waiting for. I'm kind of crouched there.
Yeah. Yep.
Difficulty?
7.
7? I got 4 successes. 9998.
Oh shit. Yeah, there is definitely something off about him. It is definitely in his scent. There's a mixture of whiskey and just something that doesn't sit right in your stomach.
Oh boy.
And you can see that as you kind of sit there and kind of come up with your plan on how to handle it, a young man dressed kind of very, very native walks over and kind of stands at the door just as the gentleman is making his way out. And that's when you hear this proclamation.
You have been tainted. There's a taint at work here. It must be cleansed. I would attempt to grab the man and start pulling him back in. A little bit guiding, but he needs cleansing.
Strength and brawl, then, sir.
Wow, this is happening right now, right here.
Yeah, and the rest of you just hear the gentleman.
2 dice.
The only taint I have is whiskey, and he kind of burps in your face.
I pull out my gun.
Oh. This poor man.
I got a 0 and a 6. What was the difficulty?
Yeah, 6 is fine. So you got 2 successes?
The 2, yeah. Yeah, 2 successes.
Yeah. He tries to kind of get around you to leave as he's had enough of this tavern, the saloon. but you manage to put both your hands on his shoulders and kind of lead him back into the bar.
Oh, good. Oh, held shot. That's what I'm thinking right now is someone's holding him steady so I can drop this right on.
You could, because they're pulling him back in.
That's what Yellow's gonna do, waiting for the drag back, and yet drop and then just kind of try and scurry away so nobody can know.
Let's have a dex and stealth then to see if anybody can spot you. But as Walker Spirits kind of pushes him back in, Miss Luna Noir sees this gentleman that was leaving getting pushed back into the tavern. There is a heavy bottle that just comes crashing down on the top of his head, shattering, and the guy just kind of wobbles his head for a moment, looking in the direction of where this bottle came from, and then he just collapses.
5 successes, by the way.
5 successes.
As long as the difficulty is
6.
below an 8.
Yeah.
I've got 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you pull your gun out, you see the bottle come falling as of from nowhere and just knocks this guy out.
Well, this is useless.
I
holster it.
Mia is the only one that might be able to see where the bottle originated. If you would like to make a perception and alertness roll. Difficulty 7. Yeah, difficulty 7.
Oh, probably will not get that though. Okay, wait.
Who knows?
Yeah, okay, hold on. Perception. So I just add my perception. Is that it?
Yeah, so you would take whatever your perception is in dice and then add whatever your alertness is in dice.
Oh, not good. Oh, what's the difficulty?
7?
Well, I rolled 2 8s and a 10.
All right, so 3.
That's it though, because that's all I have.
That's all you.
Because I have 2 perception, 1 alertness. So that's it, right?
Yeah. So you don't know precisely where the bottle came from. You know that it came from the upstairs kind of railing on the second floor that kind of extended around, leading out to the balcony that oversees the main street. But you do notice that there are a couple of bodies upstairs. There's only 3 ladies upstairs. One of them looks to be dressed similar to you, although not as nice. So instead of leaning towards performer, it's leaning more towards working girl. The other 2 are dressed more naturally, like furs, leathers. One of them is a young black woman who kind of has long, unkempt hair that's tied back, with a very, very tight leather strap. And the other one was described to you with just a striking kind of scar that runs down one side of her face.
I think Mia looks at them and is like, I don't know who did that. I was trying to deal with this in a different way, but great shot nonetheless.
There's a loud kind of clap that comes from the back of the bar, and all of you see this older gentleman, this completely kind of wild mane of white hair with some spattering of black, that is kind of been pushed back and wetted down, so that it just falls maybe to the very bottom of his shoulder plate, of where his shoulder plates end. He has this kind of wild white beard that also kind of has little spots of black that shoot out like lightning from the corners of his mouth, and just this kind of very heavy, rotund, boisterous body, barrel of a body. dark yellow kind of honeyed mustard suit with a white shirt, a matching vest, a little chain that extends to what you would imagine is a fob watch. He just kind of comes out. He pulls a cigar from his inner pocket, and he just kind of looks around. Next round's on me, y'all. Looks like we got us some justice after all in the city. And he kind of claps again, and the bartenders start to kind of point at people and kind of start to divvy out drinks. But he comes over to where Miss Luna Noir, Walks of Spirits, and Lee are kind of standing over this body. He's like, I'll be hot damned. All of you, I mean, I would like to say that this could have been handled better, but whichever one of you broke the bottle over this man's head, congratulations. You have solved this issue without any further need for gun shooting. I think it's bad for business, if you know what I'm saying.
This issue is not over. The taint is still on him.
Oh yes,
must be
yes,
cleansed.
sure, taint and all that. Yeah, Billy, if we could get him into a back room, please, where he is no longer in the way. And one of the bartenders kind of nods and comes around. But he's like, please, if all of you could join me, I have a private room upstairs. I'd like to thank you for handling this in a fashion that, one, did not lead to any actual damage. The window is paltry, but the citizens are what I care about. And seeing as how we are currently without a sheriff, I think a reward is in order. Yeah?
There will be no need for Billy over here. And take care of this.
Now, excuse me, sir, but that sounds rather ominous.
It can sound whatever you want it to be. I don't care.
Right.
You can have Billy stay right where he's at.
He comes around and kind of stands next to him, kind of like looking like, should I still pull him into a back room? And the man, the older gentleman, kind of looks over at the three of you.
Should touch him, Billy. Touch him.
Billy nods.
And I have my hand, my gun.
Yeah, Billy nods and takes a step back. And the old man is like, I appreciate your gumption. There's not gonna be a need for that though, I don't think.
Won't be no
Sir,
need.
first of all, I really like your hat. It's fabulous. You'll have to tell me where you bought that. But secondly, this is all very intimidating and very impressive. But I need to know, what's your problem with this drunken fool? Yes, he was causing some problems, and we dealt with that. Well, these lovely ladies up here dealt with that. What do you plan on doing with this idiot?
Well, we're gonna take him out back to where we take all people.
Well, I'm actually directing that to Lee,
Oh, okay.
who's trying to, like, it seems like, take this body away and
Yeah.
bury him in a ditch. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like my friend over here said, this man is tainted. So
And the old man at this point is like, I mean, just because we have ourselves somebody that can't handle his liquor, there's no need to say that the man's tainted. We all have our demons. We all fight them in different ways.
well, he's got demons, all right.
I mean,
We're giving everyone drinks. May I have some water?
there's plenty of water outside in the trough.
No, this must be pure water.
Son, I don't know if you know where you are, but there's no pure water for at least a mile.
Then he cannot be cleansed.
Done. Kind of from the top.
Has to be another way.
The old man kind of crosses his arms and he's just like, this sounds like it's something that is outside the realm of what we were gonna do. I think if you just leave him to me and Billy, we'll take him out back, we'll set him straight. I assure you, he will not bother anyone again.
Just look at him, throw my gun with my hand, the hip,
Yeah.
tapping.
Can I discern whether it's they're just gonna go and kill him? Or send him out of town? Are there some such?
The consensus that you're getting, the vibe that you're getting, is that they're gonna beat the ever-loving snot out of him, and then probably put him on a horse and let him fend for himself in the wild. But if you want to try to get a better bead on it, you could roll perception and empathy. Kind of sense the vibe. Or you could go with your primal urge.
I can do, let me see, perception and empathy.
The same with what I think Lee is going to do with this man. If he wins this, like, butting of heads.
So what was the difficulty for my perception?
6.
So 2 successes?
Yeah, there is a very subtle nefarious undertone. To what he's saying to you.
Well, as long as it's nefarious, as in this guy is going to get harmed, then I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah. There's definitely harm going to befall this motherfucker.
If he can't be cleansed, beating works sometimes too, so...
He nods. And he kind of turns back. He's like, all right, Billy, it looks like we have been allowed to continue with our current course of action. And he kind of looks over at Lee. Or am I misunderstanding what has just been kind of stated?
Look at walks with spirits. It's something that we take care of. I can do this on my own. I look back at the 2 gentlemen. Can I tell if they're regular humans, correct? Billy and this old man.
They look like it, yeah.
At this point, would we understand that we're Garou? Would I know that of Lee being like next to him in this heightened situation, or is that still like
with the proximity?
Or...
No, with the proximity to each other, you could roll perception and primal urge to sense each other. You could sense each other's kind of beasts.
I'm assuming just because he used the word tainted, everything.
Yeah, sure.
I'll roll as well.
I mean, he's also a Native American, so that he might just have a different philosophy of how life works.
That too, but I've been around the way.
You've seen some things.
Now I'm just distrustful though because he's wearing even part of a uniform.
Yeah,
and that doesn't suit right with me.
The difficulty?
6.
All right, I got 5 successes.
Oh, yeah. You can definitely feel.
I got 4.
Yeah. If you got 3 or higher. Oh, no. Miss Luna Noir does not.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, does not sense. It's not. The beasts aren't. You could.
I can sense the.
You can sense Lee's because he is in a rune, and he has just a ton more. No. You're Galliard, so you would have just one below him. So yeah, you could sense Lee, or rather, you can sense Walks because he's lower on the totem pole. But you don't sense the animal in Lee.
Okay.
The other two do kind of feel that kinship. There's definitely a familiar scent to the other two.
The old man has a sense of humor. If we must take care of it.
Now, does mention of the old man do anything to Yana?
What old man? I kind of think she's kind of crawled up on the balcony, on the banister a little bit, and is looking down.
Yeah.
There's kind of this kind of stooped owl kind of look.
Yeah.
He shines outside, down above us all.
So I pretty much know they're all Garou, correct?
You know that Walks with Spirits and Luna are Garou, yes.
Okay.
The new voice you haven't smelled. You haven't attempted to sniff it out, so. But there's a voice above you, looking down over the banister. You can see the young lady with the scar that Yana described earlier. And Walks with Spirits is the only one that's kind of like looked up to respond and has seen each other now.
Different old man I was thinking of.
Yeah, Billy kind of looks over. He's like, am I still taking him to the back? And the old man kind of shakes his head. No, you keep slinging drinks. That's all you're good for anyway. I've never had hospitality turned down. I like to mark the occasion by getting your names, if that's all right with the rest of you. Seeing as how I'm giving up my claim to any kind of the body on the floor with his foot.
Darling, if you don't already know my name, that's your loss.
He bows regally to you. He's like, oh, no, ma'am, you misunderstand. I'm talking to these vagrants. I know Miss Luna Noir when I see her.
Thank you, and I will take advantage of any hospitality. And she just kind of grabs the nearest bottle, and, like, waits for the other names.
Yeah.
I'm Walks with Spirits. Yes, I reject your hospitality.
I'm leaving and I'm taking this poor sap here on the floor with me.
All right. It's a weird name to give you, but I understand your people are peculiar.
You mean you people?
Yes, I've never heard the name Lee before.
I mean, we can all see what you are, sir.
What exactly is that?
You see him
Watch your tongue with the next few words.
stands up a little straighter, and he looks at you. He's like, "Oh, I'm well aware of where we are as far as the Mason-Dixon line is concerned, sir."
Line doesn't concern me at all. I get closer to him with my gun at the hip.
Yeah.
I just look him straight in the eye. Something to say?
Not at all, sir. Like I said, I've retracted my claim to the man's body.
You Miss Hotshot up there. Want to come down and have a drink?
Okay. And she's just gonna hop off.
Right, just land on a table.
Yep.
It was fun.
Break up a card game. Drop down again.
Oh, sorry. Oh, he's got it in his pocket. Just this kind of. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The other player kind of pulls out a knife and stabs it into the table. You cheated. And the other guy kind of just like grabs some of the money on the table and just books it out of the saloon through the open window. But the old man kind of takes a step back. Listen, whatever you people want to get up to, feel free. Just don't do it in my saloon.
Lee, is it? I think there are two others that we were looking for. I came here looking for 3. You must be one. Have you found others?
Just look at fabulous Miss Luna.
Ah,
Back
okay.
my eyes at him, thinking that he's flirting with me.
I just
His
look
eyes
at her.
roll
I don't say anything. I just look at her and just.
Yep. And now you see that you are joined by another leather and furs kind of adorned young lady. And at this point, the old man just kind of starts mumbling under his breath as he walks away.
I'm not going to deny your hospitality. And hey, I thought I was doing you a service, you know?
He turns around and he points at the bottle that Miss Luna Noir has. He's like, that's as far as my hospitality extends, given the situation. Good day to you all.
Can I really quick,
Yeah.
as he's walking away, I sort of walk up to him, and this is sort of my move. I put my arm around him, and I think he's also shocked by how tight my grip is. And I like look back and like wink at everybody, but I say to him and like under my breath, if you treat anyone with the disrespect that you treated my fine friend back there, the world will know that your bar is trash, and nobody of my caliber will come here again. Do you hear me?
He nods.
Wonderful. See you tonight. And then I turn back with a grin to my new friends. So what are we doing?
You see the guy on the floor start to come to.
He's waking up.
I take out my gun, point it at him, and just even think about it.
He just holds up his hands.
Lee, my friend, do you think this is a good place to do such a thing? Perhaps we drop another bottle on his head and take this elsewhere.
Ghana is now looking for another bottle. The moment you mentioned that, it's like...
Can I try to punch him and knock him out?
Yeah, he's on the floor, so there's no roll needed.
Okay.
You just bend down and clock him one, and there's just a heavy thud as his head hits the wooden floor. His eyes just roll back and he goes out, limp.
Or you could do that. I mean, it's kind of boring, but whatever.
Boring, efficient, quicker. To get out of here.
Where do you want to take him?
Try to pick him up. And
We can take him to my caravan if we find a better transportation method than perhaps slung over your fine shoulder, my friend.
It's not a difficult task. He's not a big man. Enough leverage, you can get him on the fireman's carry.
And can we perform the rite
Sure.
there?
Rights. What do I know what rights are? I feel like this is not my specialty, but would I know what he's talking about?
I mean, you would because you do have that one rite that you were taught.
Oh, right. Okay. And just because I don't know, as Stella, what
Yeah.
is needed for that?
Yeah, you could ask.
Oh, okay. As I'm asking, I'm literally like, I put a gold piece on the bar and say to Billy, I'm just gonna borrow this carpet for the afternoon. I'll bring it back this evening. And I try and like roll the guy in the carpet while I'm like, what do we need for that ride again? Just remind me. And
Yeah.
I'm like rolling the guy in the carpet.
You see him, he comes over, he grabs the coin that you laid on the table, he kind of bites into it, he's just like, oh, this is real. This is nice. Shiny.
Pure spring water and a birch branch. With that, we can cleanse him and
Water
take a
skin.
step. Excellent.
We could do that.
Excellent.
Okay, we got. Looks like we have what we need.
Yeah. There are plenty of birch trees out by the open area where the wagon train is kind of pulled up into. Yana has pure spring water and a water skin.
I'll
And your
start.
carriage. Sorry.
If we have if we've gotten him back into a bit of a secluded place in the caravan, I'll begin a rite of cleansing.
Yep. So
Which
there's a couple of people that kind of see Miss Luna Noir come back to the caravan and they get really excited. You see that there is a hubbub about her. There is a big kind of following. People who are doing things like juggling or practicing their fire breathing, like they stop and they kind of come over and start to gravitate like moons around her.
Basically tell my new friends, you can bring my new carpet right there in the caravan. Thank you. Go ahead and take a load off while you're in there. And I'll just stay outside. And basically, like, Luna's whole thing is hiding in plain sight. So
Yeah.
she's going to, like, entertain the masses out here while her new friends do whatever they need to do and,
Okay.
like, cover the caravan.
So yeah, so Luna leads you to a covered wagon, spacious. It looks like it's has seen its fair share of use. There's kind of makeshift rail at kind of shoulder level that looks like hangers could go here for costume pieces. But right now, it is an empty space for you to kind of do your work.
Okay.
Just
Do
before-
you two know why we're here? Why we've been brought together?
why I'm here. Speak for all of you.
Coyote brought me here.
Ah. Did you speak with Matthew? Plains Runner. races the sky.
I think storyteller, that who I talked to not originally, but
That's one of
after
them.
the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amelia and Matthew were also there when Calliope was introduced to you.
Yeah. I came out of a moon bridge.
Oh, you've come far. There's a taint upon this place. The Weavers working their ways. This may be a small amount of it, but we must find what's going on. And that I'll try to start preparing. It's a branch touched with this pure spring water, and another lit a flame, and make circles around him.
Okay.
Some low chanting. The others can, empathetically growl, and that plays into the ritual whether they know it or not.
Okay.
Or whether they know how to perform it themselves.
Sure. You kind of direct them as a conductor would. And as the second round of circling starts to happen, you feel the wagon shake. There's a moment where the body kind of convulses. It pumps up and down. The chest starts to kind of heave. It almost feels like he's trying to vomit up whatever's inside of him. And there's a moment where you see just maybe a Tom Collins glass worth of just this brown whiskey come out of his mouth. Just a violent kind of expulsion of it. And as it does, the wagon that you're in starts to creak and crack, and you can see some of the boards start to just bend at angles they shouldn't be bending. Some of the people that Luna's talking to outside suddenly look past her at the wagon itself as it's kind of shaking, as it's kind of heaving like it's an organ itself, and they start to back away. And as they do, the body kind of convulses one last time, and there's just this heavy sigh that escapes him, and he just sits there like he's asleep. But the wagon that you're in suddenly breaks apart.
Sure.
And you see the closest wagons that are near it also start to shatter and reform. And this is one of the worst things that you have been taught about walks with spirits. This is a tainted spirit manifesting itself, which means that it must have the strength to do so. This is not something that's just a passerby or something that's latched onto something. This is a force of nature. This is something akin to a jaggling or a gaffling, and it is pulling the wagons nearby into what looks to be just this massive creation of wood, cloth, and just iron, jagged pieces in the form of what looks to be this 5 foot tall, at its highest, just wooden contraption of a scorpion. It looks to be about 5 feet tall. It looks to be about maybe 22 feet long, tip to tip. And this
There's
is
some
That's a
context to that.
this is where we'll roll initiative. Which
This is the part. This is the part where I should have accepted this man's hospitality.
So we're gonna use the simplified version of initiative. It's gonna be just rolling one dice and adding your dexterity and your wits score to it.
Dirty and wits.
Oh no, I rolled
So hitting
high.
with
Uh,
what's dexterity under?
Physical. It's going to be on the left-hand side.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay.
15.
So just a D10 plus those two.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Add those two scores together as a numerical value, and then just add 1d10 to that.
I rolled a 10, so 14 total.
Ooh. So
Yeah.
Wax, Lee, Luna, and Yana.
7.
11.
So 14 for Luna, 11 for Yana. What did Lee
30
get?
on which?
Yeah.
30 on which, right?
Yeah.
6 plus 4, 13.
13 for Lee and Wax.
7.
7.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Scorpion. Got that. All right. So, the way combat works in the old system is you would declare what you're doing from lowest to highest, and then it would go in order. The actions would actually happen from highest to lowest, and if something changes what you wanted to do, you would need to spend a willpower point to kind of alter your action, because life is like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I ask
Wax,
a quick question?
yeah,
This is so sorry to break up gameplay for this.
no,
But something weird happened with the camera, and I have to keep moving so far back away from everything that I can't like see it. Are you able to move my camera so I can be a little closer, not out of the screen?
oh man,
I'm really sorry. I just couldn't see my sheet and stuff from how far away I had to like move my chair
sure.
from my computer.
Get yourself
really sorry that-
get yourself in a comfortable position. I'll try to.
Yeah, anywhere here's fine. Sorry about that.
Sure. I mean, work with this.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, everyone. Breaking narrative tension.
No, I don't want you to feel like you got pulled out because of me.
Pulled out
I don't
because
think
you
anything
had to
can
be
really
pulled
dissolve the
back.
tension of a scorpion.
Yeah. A carriage scorpion, a wagon scorpion, I'm trying to think of a good name to go. Garage?
Yep. It'll come to us. We'll workshop it.
Corpodon.
Sure.
Corpodon.
Corpodon. That's exactly what I wanted it to be when I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Also, bringing this dude to my caravan was maybe a bad idea. Sorry about that. I thought that was so smart.
No.
Mistakes.
Usually rolling somebody
No.
up in a rug and dragging him to places.
That's how you make
That's a
friends.
Great idea.
That's how you make friends,
This is how
Definitely
we
the
became
first time I've done that.
friends.
right?
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember who we put into a rug and then put in the middle of a wagon somewhere in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Dimitri. That's right. Never mind. So
How did you say you've done this before?
So we get to start with our declarations with Wax. Wax spirits. What would you like to do as this massive scorpion?
Did I complete the rite and this is the result of it? Or is this interrupting
This is interrupted the rite. This is the spirit inside the man made manifest. But you know that destroying the spirit would free the man from the clutches.
So I'm not entirely sure how the combat
Mhm.
works. So destroying this. Okay, so the spirit's made manifest. So
Yeah.
Busting it up and punching it up would. Well, I've got a branch on fire in my hand.
Yeah, you do.
And I'd like to try to apply that with force to the scorpion.
Okay, so you're gonna try to. Do you want to try to just hit it with the branch that's on fire, or do you want to try to set it on fire?
I want to try to set it on fire. So if there's
Okay.
any parts that are like the canvases of the wagons or
Yep.
some other vulnerable bits that I could try to sort of sneak that on there.
Sure. So you're gonna try to set it on fire.
Yeah.
It's going to
Cleansing fire.
try to clamp you in its claws. and it's going to try to pierce you, to spear you with its tail. So then we move over to Yana. What would Yana like to declare for this round?
All right. If I'm seeing that Walks with Spirits is going to try and set this thing on fire, but I also see this rearing for attack, I am going to try and, you know what, we're going to have some fun here. I am going to spend a rage.
Oh.
And I am going to I am going to go into not Krynos. I'm going to try and go into Hypso.
Okay. So the dire wolf.
Yes, the dire wolf.
Nice. Okay. Are you using your rage point to shift automatically, or are you using it for an extra action?
I'm going to use it to shift automatically.
Okay, so you still have your actual action for that round.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get the tail. I'm going to try and leap and pin the tail.
Okay.
In my jaws. That's the idea.
All right. So that'll definitely be a Dex and Brawl roll. That brings us to Lee. What would Lee like to declare for this turn?
Oh, Lee's gonna do the same. I'm seeing all this play out, correct? Him setting up the fire. And then...
Ideally, things will go in reverse order. So what you'll see happen is what Luna does, and then you're gonna be reacting to that, and then Yana will be reacting to that. The Scorpion will take its attacks, and then Walks of Spirits will hopefully set it on fire.
Okay. Pretty much, I'm gonna spend a rage point as well and go into Krynos.
Oh, okay, the war form.
I don't waste no time.
War. You still have your action if you're gonna use your Krynos to shift, your rage point to shift.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it because I want instant.
Yeah.
I mark it down the bottom row.
Yeah, bottom row will be whatever you used up.
Then I will, since I don't know what things going except for what Luna does, I'm gonna go straight and attack the Scorpion.
Just a claw or bite?
What's stronger?
Claw does more damage, but biting is easier. It's a give and take.
Let's go with the claw.
Okay, so it's gonna be Dex and Brawl. Difficulty 6. Then that brings us to Luna. Miss Mia, what do you want to declare for the round?
There's kind of two things I want to do, so let me know if I can do them both.
Sure.
The first one is more of just talking, if that's kind of a free action in this game. I basically want to be like, everybody get inside! Billy, let them in and lock the door. I just basically want to get the crowd out of here.
Okay.
Is that semi-free action, or is that count?
Yeah, no, that definitely. Okay. If you want to try to make an impact for more than just the people that are kind of attentive to you, that would be a role where you would actually have to kind of like use your charisma and either your leadership or intimidation or performance, even depending on how you want to.
Right. I think for now, just and see what happens. If people get involved, then I'll do more. But for now, because presumably I was talking to all these people, this crowd of a few people or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna basically order them to get inside the bar we just came out of, and hopefully Billy, who's our new friend, who I just gave a whole gold for a crappy rug to, just order him to lock the people inside. And then what I would like to do for my move, and again, you can let me know if this is okay.
Sure.
Because we sort of talked about my changing outfits.
Yes.
So underneath my big skirt, I have this big circle skirt, and I've rigged it so it essentially comes off with a clasp, and then it's just like a big circle of material. I want to kind of take it off and try and throw it on this thing. If I can perceive some sort of eyes, I'm trying to blind it.
Okay. Let's have you then roll a dexterity and athletics.
Okay.
To try and cover where you would imagine this thing's face is.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
We'll say 6. Actually, we'll say 5. You have a lot of fabric, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of fabric. So I
Yeah.
got 3 successes out of that.
Okay. So sure enough, all of you see Miss Luna suddenly just unclasp this wild collection of cloth and fibers and just petticoats and just toss them onto the front of where this thing anatomically should have its eyes. Lee, then you see him suddenly shift into this almost 9-foot tall monstrosity of hybrid of wolf and man. What does your Krynos form look like, Lee?
Very much picture like Anubis, big, lean, muscular, black-looking jackal with a long, pointed ears, long snout, very slim, all black. You see, as he's changing his hat, his clothes just mesh with his body as he transforms and changes from Ahmed, from this cowboy fighter to this giant jackal like
The war form.
war form.
Anybody that had stayed around after Luna's warnings has definitely now kind of rushed in terror. The Krynos has a very protective aura called the delirium that makes people just not want to be anywhere near it. It is a primordial fear that goes back to the time when werewolves were in charge of culling humans, and they book. What'd you get on your attack roll?
It's dexterity and
Brawl.
You said, right?
Yeah.
I got 2 successes.
Okay.
Can I let out a howl as I change, like just
yeah, of course.
howl. I let out that howl and just
Yana's into it.
Yeah. So you got 2 successes. So roll your strength in Krynos form. So it's higher.
Wait, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
click the button and you can hit the Krynos.
Hold
And
on.
so
Yeah.
you get additional dice there, bro.
Yeah, I think you get +4 to your
Yeah,
strength.
I didn't. When I was rolling dexterity and brawl,
Yeah.
do I use these stats as well?
Yeah. So you would have gotten 1 more dice.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll go ahead and roll one more dice. See what happens.
because of dexterity.
Yeah. It is an
I got
instantaneous shift.
another success.
Okay. So yeah, so take your Krynos strength, add 2 for the claws,
2
and
for the claws.
then 2 more for your threshold.
Dang.
And then my strength. Hold on, and then my regular strength, right?
Yes. So it's your Krynos strength total adds +4. So whatever, if your strength is 3 and your Krynos gives you 4, you'd roll 7 + 2 is 9 + 2 more would be 11 dice of damage.
Krynos don't fuck around.
Let me make sure. So I got 2 on strength. That's 2 plus 4 because of Krynos.
6.
4 more dice. And then what else?
2 more for the claws, that's 8, and 2 more for the threshold, that's 10 total dice.
Yeah, okay, 10 dice. Here we go. Let's roll these babies.
Yep.
All right.
Difficulty is 6.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
5 successes. You tear these 4 very almost 1.5 inch, almost 2-inch gashes across its husk as you bring your one kind of dominant hand down and just bring it towards you in this rake. And although it is built of shattered kind of pieces of wagon and there are no discernible ways to kind of figure out if you've done anything to it, it does arch its back in a way that you would imagine is kind of showing you that this is painful for it. Brings us to Yana, who you now see instantly as well shift down into this massive throwback of a wolf, this dire wolf. What does your wolf form look like?
It's kind of black and red mottled fur, similar to like the red wolves of North America, but there's also a lot of brown. The ears are fully up. The face looks more coyote-like.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
And it's got this big grin even in this form, which would be kind of cute if it was a smaller animal that showing rows and rows of teeth.
Not this 5 foot tall at the shoulder monstrosity of a wolf.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Sure. And you said you wanted to bite at its tail, so go ahead and make your dex and brawl roll. It is difficulty 5 for a bite attack. So you have that going for you. 4 successes. So it would be your Hispel strength.
Yeah.
Plus 1 for the bite, plus 3 for your threshold.
1 sec. For the bite, threshold.
You always look at stats for some of these like worm creatures, and you're like, "There's no way this is fair." And then you're like, "Oh, there's a pack of werewolves that are supposed to attack this thing."
Yeah.
That's why it's fair.
It's not D&D, that's for sure.
Right.
D&D, we don't know her here.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
6.
Who that bitch?
6. Jeez. Okay.
Doing pretty good over here.
Yeah. There has been at least 4 levels of damage done in the last 2 turns. So.
Hang on.
And kind of the goal was to grab it, and it's that definite. I'm not letting go, so it's kind of like I've got it, and I'm holding it down because I don't want that appendage to be able to strike out.
Yeah,
that's kind of the thing.
That has definitely knocked its tail attack off for the round, so it will not be able to strike out with it. It will try to clamp down at Walks of Spirits, though.
Is it blind? Does that matter in this game? Maybe it doesn't.
It does. It does. I would definitely am going to raise its difficulty to try and attack. We never came up with a dice pool for you setting it on fire. So we'll say that's going to be a strength and athletics. Do you want to try to dodge the pincers coming in at you? Because you would have to take the lower of the 2 dice pools and then split that for your action for the round.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just take it like a champ?
I think I would let it get me. If anything, that gets me closer into it to set it on fire.
That's what I was going to say. There's one way to get up in its face. And it does have all this beautiful cloth that's ready to be flammable.
Spoken like a true Garou.
Yeah. Since you're not dodging, I only need 1 threshold, which I got. I got 1 success over that, so I'm only doing 1 extra point of damage. So I'm going to roll damage. I'm going to tell you how many successes I got, and then you're going to get to roll your stamina to soak that many successes to try to reduce the amount of damage you're going to take physically. Stamina. I only rolled 3 successes.
Well, let's see. I've got a stamina of 3.
Okay. You're gonna roll your 3 dice, difficulty 6. Every success, it subtracts 1 from me.
1, 4, 5. So no successes.
No successes.
No soaky dope.
I take it all.
No, so you take all 3 points. This is lethal damage. Normally, as a regular human, you wouldn't be able to soak lethal damage. As a werewolf, you are allowed to soak any kind of damage that comes your way, because you are overpowered as fuck. And anytime that you're not in your breed form, you start to regenerate automatically. Anything that isn't aggravated regenerates 1 per turn. You can push it by making a stamina roll, difficulty 8, to get 1 more. kind of health level healed. And that is a reflexive action. It doesn't count as your action for the round. That's the Scorpion's turn. And now we come to you, Walks with Spirits. And you have been brought up. You've been clamped down on its pincers. You have been brought towards its what was its face that is now covered in this beautiful remnant of petticoat and skirt. Excuse me. You are at a -1 now because of the damage you've taken.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll your attempt to set this on fire.
And you said strength and
Athletics.
athletics. And the difficulty?
5. Yeah, it's not.
Just one success.
Okay. The pain coursing through your body as this thing has clamped down on you, and what you imagine is probably crushed some of your ribs into your actual like lungs and your kind of stomach and diaphragm. As the pain kind of courses through your body, you do manage to keep your wits about you, and you bring this thing down. And there's a moment where you just kind of feel it touch, and then you instinctively just kind of like get rid of the branch entirely, and it wraps itself up in this cloth skirt, and the whole back of this thing is now on fire.
And if I can, still on my turn,
Mhm.
with my my goal achieved, I will spend rage
Okay.
to move into Hispo as well.
Okay. So that'll happen at the beginning of next round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you declare rage at the beginning.
Okay.
But because you start the declaration round, you can declare your rage point going into Hispo form.
I will do that.
Okay. The Scorpion is now on fire. So it's going to try to just squeeze the life out of you.
And so my action for the turn
correct
would be trying to just break out of the claw.
It's going to try to squeeze you to death and pull its tail away. So Yana, what would you like to declare for this round?
Yana is trying to keep that tail down and fixated. She does see the fire bad, but don't want the tail flailing around at this point.
All right, so you're gonna try a contested roll.
Yeah.
Walks the Spirits is gonna try a contested roll. Lee, what do you want to do this round? This thing is now on fire.
Are there any open spots for me to more damage and claw at it?
This thing is huge. There's plenty of space for you to just claw at it if you just want to claw at its body.
I'm gonna take out its claws.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna try to take out one of its claws?
Yeah.
All right. That would definitely be a strength and brawl. And that'll be a difficulty 7 this time. And then what does Luna want to declare for the round?
I can change my form and do an action, right?
Yes, you can either use a rage point to shift instantly without a roll, or you can take up one of your actions to kind of make a roll to force a change.
No, I'll use a rage point, but I'll only go up to the next form. Is it Glabro?
Yeah, the near human.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think she has a hesitancy in going like full wolf.
Yeah.
But like you see like everything like just get a little bit beefier. Like she's kind of a beefy woman.
Yeah.
She's like a large, imposing woman. But when she makes this like shift, her hair just like and like everything just like gets a little hairier and it's a little bigger.
Yeah.
And then
the poofy pants that you have actually fell out. Not because of of like the extra meat, but just because of the extra muscle that's now
Yeah.
visibly
Like
pulling at the fabric of these
them
pants.
thighs, they're like tree trunks. And then I'd like to, if there's something around like a sign or something, like rip it out and just baseball this thing with it.
There was a sign that had just been put up for one of the tarot card readers. You could easily pull that out and go to town.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a strength and melee roll for you.
Okay, perfect. I already had a lot of strength.
Yeah,
So
and now
4,
now
yeah, add
it
2
goes
more,
up a
right?
little bit, right? Because your Clabro
Yeah,
form.
it's up 2, I think it said. Plus 2. Yeah, so that's 6 total. Do I add anything else? Just pure strength?
Yep, just that strength plus whatever your melee is.
Yeah. Oh, plus melee. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even add that.
Yeah, because you're rolling to hit right now.
Yeah. Oh, just 1 more. So 7 total.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's gonna
What's
be
the
difficulty 5.
Okay.
It's not hard to make this to swing this like a makeshift batter axe.
Shoot. I only got 3.
That's more than enough. It is not dodging
Oh.
you, so all you really need is 1 success.
Oh, okay.
So now you're gonna roll your strength again, but just by itself. You're gonna add 1 more for the sign as a makeshift weapon, and then you're gonna add 2 more for the threshold that you got over the one that you needed.
So that's 9 total. So I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I only have 3 D10s.
That's fine.
So
That's
give me
fine.
3 seconds.
Yeah.
So that 1, 2.
But
Oh no,
you
those are ones. Shoot.
you
What's the
shatter difficulty 6 on damage. You shatter the sign as it comes in contact with this thing. But you have Casey Jones this side of this thing.
Yes. I only got 3 successes though. I rolled
Okay.
pretty bad.
Let's see if it soaks any of it.
But I looked cool.
It's soaked 1, so it takes 2.
Okay. Not great, but it looked awesome.
No, yeah. You swang into this thing almost like Paul Bunyan swinging his axe. There's a massive shattering of splintering of wood. Lee, what did you get on your roll?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
5 successes. Okay. So that's 4 threshold. So that's gonna be your cranial strength. Plus 2 more for the claw, plus 4 threshold.
Plus my 2 strength. 2 strength. That's the same. 5 and dice.
Mhm.
Make sure I got this right.
Difficulty 6 on damage.
Damage 1, 2, 4, 5.
5?
7.
7 successes. Jesus.
Yeah. Fucking good.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this thing will definitely last at least 4 rounds, so we can get some of that good out in 5. No, Mr. Griffin, not here. That brings us to Yana. It is starting to fall apart. You can see where it had these very 8 defined kind of legs is now down to 4. Pieces are splintering off of this thing. You can feel to the point now that if you dig in with enough grit, you could pull this tail right off.
I want to do that. I totally want to do that with it and then just come up running with the tail wagging if it's possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So strength
Alright.
and athletics.
All right, strength, athletics. Oh. I'm gonna willpower counts for successes, right?
Yeah, you can spend 1 willpower point to get 1 automatic success.
I will do so just for the fun.
Yeah, just in case.
And what was the difficulty again, storyteller?
5. This thing is weakening.
That's 5.
Yeah. I rolled 2 successes, but I had a 1, so that brings it down to 1 success. And more than 3 is enough to pull this with a heavy grunt and a growl. Just the splintering shatters and echoes in this open plain, and you just see this remnant of that whiskey that the guy vomited just kind of pour out where the tail has been ripped out of this thing.
She's totally doing the shaky
Yes,
with it.
just the shaking of the chew toy in the mouth. I totally pictured that already. I'm glad that you said it out loud though. And as the tail is ripped and there's this loud cacophony of wood shattering, the thing collapses. The fire starts to eat up whatever's left over, catching onto the whiskey blood that it kind of started to bleed out from the hole in its, what would be its anus. And almost in a matter of moments, this whole thing is kind of eaten up by the fire. And you notice that as the wood starts to char and the blackness starts to spread, you all smell meat cooking. And as the wood starts to fall to either side of this central husk, you see what looks to be the skeleton of a man.
Oh, we let him burn.
I mean, you cleansed him of his taint.
Yeah,
that's for
definitely.
sure.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. And as people kind of start to peek out from wherever they were hiding or from wherever they ran off to, there's kind of trepidation that comes over the group as, looking now into the city, you're not sure if it's the haze from the fire, the smoke that's kind of emanating off of this husk, but there's more taint in this city than you've previously thought of, than you were previously made aware of. And there are tendrils of shadows that are kind of retracting and pulling themselves back, almost like they're about getting ready to reinforce whatever grasp they have on this city. And this is unfortunately where we'll come to an end with our one shot today. I'd like to thank all of you for participating, for taking a chance. Some of you are new to Werewolf. I hope that this has given you an impetus to kind of go out and check it out on your own, kind of play around with it, see what you can come up with. Of course, before we go, I'd like to give you guys a round of applause. I loved all of your characters. I loved getting them all together. And of course, going in the same order from full moon to new moon, let's give you guys a chance to kind of plug whatever you're doing, whatever channels you're a part of, and where we can find you. Ike.
Hey, thank you, Will, for having me and everybody else. I'm sure I speak for them as well, having us on here.
Thank you.
If, you can find me, like I said earlier, on Fridays, Out of the Dark Star Wars. I play Flit Grill. Come check it out on Friday. It's also run by Will. Awesome, great storyteller.
Completely different character. Thank you for that.
Completely. Flit is not so eager to get into a fight or anything. He's actually the guy hiding behind a desk or something.
Yeah. But he is the captain of the ship. Stella.
That was awesome. Thanks so much for having me on. It was really cool to play I've never played like a werewolf, or it's cool to jump out of what you normally do. So that was really fun, and it was super cool to meet all the players. and be involved. And yeah, I do D&D on Tuesdays on my channel. Sometimes I play video games badly, and I'm going to be starting a talk show coming up in July. So stay tuned and come hang out.
I
Thanks
mean,
so much.
I think you were a chat favorite, so I look forward to seeing another chapter of this sometime in the future, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be amazing for sure. I love this character, so I'd love to bring her back.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Donald, where can we find you
You can't find me.
at all?
Maybe
true.
sometimes here. But I'll just cheerlead again. Not only this Ravnos archive, hit subscribe, send some bits, do whatever the thing is.
Do whatever the thing is.
Yeah, and maybe the Will Cabrera poetry. Check out some of the haikus.
Oh, that cuts deep. And then
they're great.
Yeah, Ravinia.
Hey, again, Ravinia. You can find me on Twitter at the Squishy Bear. I do a lot of stuff with McStabber Studios. And like I said previously, we have a werewolf game, a campaign that's I'm going to be running, that Will is going to be a part of in July. And it's called Werewolf the Apocalypse, Phoenix's Call. Again, amazing, Will. I'm very happy. I will be
Thank
your
you.
Ragabash anytime you need me.
All of this was just so I could practice my twang for your game. So I'm looking forward to that. And as always, please, if you guys haven't, get yourselves vaccinated. If you feel like you have to, please continue to wear your masks in public. Continue to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. I use the intro to My Chemical Romance Black Parade. Like, there's no shame in that. If you feel like you have to, please keep keeping your distance. And as always, if you're watching live on Twitch, we always end with a series of phone numbers in case you need help. Because mental health is a very big part of general health, and we are big advocates for that here on this channel. If you are a friend of somebody who is usually a strong or happy-go-lucky personality, please check in on them. You know, you never know what a simple hello or how are you doing can change the trajectory of somebody's life. So please check up on each other. Check up on yourself. You know, do a mental check-in, see how you're doing. And just know that there's no taboo and there's no stigma about mental health. It is part of our general health, and it is part of who we are as people. And I appreciate all of you being here and helping me fight off my demons by getting to expel these stories and be a storyteller. And as always, I appreciate all of you for being in chat. If you want to catch more of me, I have a 2-part vampire game that happens on Monday. It's either a Camarilla chapter or an Anarch chapter. I have an L5R game, a Legend of the Five Rings game that's coming to an end that's on Wednesdays. And I have, like Ike said, our Star Wars Out in the Dark every Friday. And at the end of the month, I always do a one-shot to kind of show off a game that I wouldn't normally run on my channel. So there's always ways to find me. I will be running a mini-series of Mage on McStabber Studios that starts tonight if you are not sick of me already. And I will see you wherever I will see you. Please be safe, take care of each other, and have a good day.